I was abused from 8 to 16. My father abused me.
My parents died 2009, 2010.
That time I didn't know what was going on.
I was brought to the court for uncontrollable behavior.
Feel out of place and feel lost.
I became aware of the state when I was 12 years old. That happened because I lived with a granduncle of mine. He started touching me inappropriately. My mother was one of the, you'd say quote unquote, mental persons in the family. She did prostitution. She got into it about as early as 14. She had me basically when she was on the road, sleeping around to buy the coke, doing everything that she could possibly do for her survival. What I remember when I was 6 years old, one day my grandmother called to say that she wanted to take me from my dad. Then I was living with her till she died a year after. Things got rough, like the family was shaken a bit. And so I was battling from family member to family member. At one point I was staying with my uncle and he decided that he wanted to go overseas. And he packed me up, took me to Mona where my granduncle was, and gave me the goodbyes and said that he was leaving. My family wasn't known to be one that was very much supportive, particularly of me. There were persons that would say to me that you're going to be just like your mother. And so many persons didn't expect as much from me. My mother had over 10 children. I know none of them. My family was always one, they tried as much as possible to help my mom, but when it was evident that there was no turning back for her, they withdrew. It started from about when I was in grade 4, when I was 9 years old. And my mother's uncle, he started touching me inappropriately. At the time, I was in no position to talk about it. I didn't understand what was going on. I felt very scared. In his mind, he believed that I'm now an adult. There were times when I would wake up in the night and see him on top of me. Like just wake up and there would be a whole person laying on top of me. I didn't tell anybody about it. I didn't want to talk about it. I would have nightmares about him. I would always dream that he's running me down to kill me, type of thing, and it made me very scared. I didn't know how to react to it because I know that he was also abusing drugs. And so he used to beat me with this belt, this genuine leather belt that had 3 buckles on it, and he would roll it from the tip and use the buckle to beat me. And then when I turned 12, he had a baseball bat where he was like, if I give any trouble and whatever, he would beat me with that. A lot of years built up and I finally came out. Started by telling my guidance counselor, and after telling her everything that was happening with me and how I was feeling one evening after school, she called him and she spoke to him, and as soon as he reached the gate, he started taking out his belt. He was so angry at the fact that I actually talked about it, that I actually told somebody. And I got a lot of beating that night, a lot of bruises, and when he was finished with me, I was bruised everywhere. There was a night when a friend of mine came over, and she and I were sleeping in the same bed. We're pretending that we're sleeping, and he started to touch her, thinking that it was me. And she got up in the middle of the night and she called her mom, and her mom came for her, and that's how the entire story came out afterwards. The whole story burst out in such a way, it was basically like a sore. We left Kingston and we went to live in Hanover. We were going to court for a little while until one day we got word that we'll no longer be going to court because they threw out the case. He died afterwards.
Tune in next week as Sachel continues to share her story.
I was very thankful that they sought to put into place a facility that would cater for other wards who have passed the age of 18. I did not have a bad experience with any of my caregivers, house mothers. I do understand that they are people too.
She's well-mannered, which makes it easy for me to intervene in her life at different points.
iShare, brought to you by the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPFSA.